FDIC, the one and only, the star of the entire Gulf Coast, Ricky Mathews. Good morning, sir. How are you? It's good to have you.
Doing great. How are you doing, Paul?
Day by day, my man, day by day. Before I get to this, because we are, inlanders for the most of us, unless we have been blessed by having an abode on the coast, we don't keep up with these things. But there was a big christening at Ingalls Shipbuilding Saturday morning, and we miss those things, but the pride needs to be felt in every single Mississippi. I don't care if you're all the way near the Tennessee line. New state-of-the-art Navy ship honoring World War II veterans. It was Jack Lucas, and Lucas was the youngest Marine to ever receive a Medal of Honor in World War II. He survived a hand grenade explosion by shielding it with his body to protect his team. An official said Lucas's nickname, the Indestructible, ties perfectly with the mighty ship. But congratulations to all of the team at Ingalls for putting that ship on the water and to protect us. But your thoughts, sir, on that?
Well, there's a lot to be proud of. I mean, you think about the coast is an economic engine. On one side, we have Ingalls. The other side, we have Stennis Space Center. What they're contributing to the world is incredible. And, Ingalls, think about Ingalls, man, the strategic importance of that shipyard and the state-of-the-art sort of technology that they're deploying there, and their ships are all over the world defending freedom. We're so lucky to have it here. It's history, it's history not just here on the coast, but its significance to Mississippi, putting Mississippi on the map, is quite significant, and we're lucky to have it here.
Yeah, I don't know if a lot of people out there get the NASA channel. On my C Spire TV platform, I got the NASA channel. And every once in a while, you'll see something coming from Stennis, and they'll do a documentary or something from Stennis. And if you've never been there and you don't know anything about it, you're thinking, wait a minute, that is in Mississippi? I mean, it's big time, and a lot of people don't know anything about it, but you're perfectly welcome when you go down to the coast to take a trip over there. They have a lot of things for the kids to see, and it's don't miss it. I mean, it's not only educational, the kids will have a great time, too. All right, Ricky, big day yesterday in the House and Senate. Your analysis of what went on as far as the taxes are concerned, and let's get over to the wildlife bill itself.
Well, as it relates to the tax deal, you and I have talked about this before. Sometimes the legislative process is hard to watch. We know that, and we wish that the big three were a little bit more on the same page as it related to a roadmap to get to this point. But they accomplished something, and I had my concerns about whether we could do a complete elimination of the income tax. We can still evaluate that. That can certainly be a next step, but they came together and have done something important from an economic development point of view. This is huge, because it sends a message that Mississippi is in business, and we want people to, I think the pandemic has changed how people work and remote work, et cetera. So the opportunity to attract people here, and I think this is going to be really important to us, and hopefully we can continue to move forward, and that the impact will be significant to us economically, and that we can maybe take the next step at some point in the future.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people, the only negatives I saw from this, Ricky, were people saying, well, I really wish we had the chance to get the car tax down or the groceries. But in a lot of cases, too, those same people were saying, I don't want no stinking sales tax increase. You can't have it both ways. And the Senate did push the House to a point where you had to make a decision one way or the other. If you have the sales tax in there, maybe you could have broadened it a little bit more, but I think this was a good common ground on both sides. I don't know if you heard Jason earlier this morning, but Jason basically said that they were, as a matter of fact, when they left late last night, they were very, very close on the wildlife issue. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Well, look, I'm hearing a lot of really good stuff. Like, for example, one of the things that they were negotiating about was the mechanism for accountability, the makeup of the board, how that will work, what the relationship between the board and the legislature will be. Anytime you get to that point of the analysis, that's a really, really good thing. And, you know, I got the call, as you know, from Lieutenant Governor before I was on your show in the last week or so, and he seemed incredibly committed to this, and I communicated to that to you now, then. And when you look at what's happening on the House side, what's happening on the Senate side, the amount of midnight oil, man, they're staying up super late to pull this off. You know, within the guise of one of the most consequential legislative sessions we've ever had, when you think about the income tax and all that they still stayed focused on creating an Outdoor Stewardship Trust Fund that will give us a chance to be a leader in conservation in the United States. I think it's something we should celebrate, and let's hope they can close the deal and move this thing forward.
I want to be a devil's advocate on here, but the thing that's been the biggest stumbling block is still before them, as alluded to by the Speaker Pro Tem, because you got to figure this out as far as the diversion versus the appropriation. That's been the thing that's probably held them back, beside the private-public part of this also. But it seems to be rather simple. Either you do the diversion or you appropriate enough money to get it done, and not on a year-to-year basis. Make some type of commitment, because these things are all long range, are they not, Ricky? I mean, you can't just have something appropriated in a January session and then get that matching money. It's RFPs and it's long-term planning. Speak to that.
It is. I've said this many times that the federal funds, one of the reasons we want this Conservation Trust Fund, so we can go get federal funds, the majority of which is in the Farm Bill. This is important to point out. But these federal programs are, you know, if we're really serious about conservation, you don't do it in 1 year. Most programs take 2 or 3 years to do. I think the good news is that even in the negotiation, even though I think it's a showstopper to go to the diversion route for the Senate, they're still talking about things that will happen in the first and second year and beyond. So I think there's a commitment. I wish the wording would be in the bills to have that commitment. The thinking of the House is they want a diversion so that there is a dedicated funding source for many years to come. I think that there's a lot of alignment now around this has to be a multi-year project. They're talking as putting as many as $20 million into the first year. It's a step in the right direction. You're never going to get the perfect bill, but I don't think that this debate about diversion versus appropriation will be a showstopper as long as there's a commitment to multi-year.
And for people who are worried all of a sudden this becomes a black hole of dollars, they cap that off at $20 million. So $20 million is about the limits on that as far as the diversion is concerned. And I'm sure if they're going to do any kind of appropriation, it's going to be also about the same. So we'll see what happens with that. Mm-hmm. I would think with the way they've structured, and let me ask you this and your thoughts, Ricky Mathews is my guest, with the way they've structured the tax bill that is on the governor's desk, would this probably lead it more to the appropriation than the diversion now?
I don't know, but I don't know the answer to that question. Maybe, but I'm not positive about that. I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Yeah. It may not make any difference at all. I was just thinking the way that you're going to be taxing and taking money out, so one way or the other. If it happens, then the fund would start accumulating in, well, they wouldn't be able to appropriate anything this year unless they had a special session. So you'd have to wait for the 2023 session just to put some money in, unless they do that in this bill.
Yeah,
seed money.
I sense they're going to do. I think they're going to do that. They want to get moving as quickly as possible. They don't want to lose another year. They don't want to lose another year of the opportunity to get the matching funds. We're losing out on about $40 million a year, Paul, in federal matching funds. So the sooner we get started, the better. And I'd be surprised if we had to wait another year.
All right, my man. Well, look, who's on the guest list? Who's coming up on the guest list?
Well, we got Shad White and several other amazing people that we're gonna be talking about brain drain and other issues. We've got a great week this week.
That'll make people along the coast happy about a Shadrach attack there. I mean, you never know when it's going to happen. So, Always good talking to you, Brendan. Appreciate it. Our brother in broadcast, Ricky Mathews. Don't miss it. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you for your leadership, Paul.
Got it, man.